Kahn'el, you are walking down the halls of the palace of the Queen of Error and Darkness. Walls made of opaque but translucent. I'll use obsidian as two guards flank you, not like forcing you down the hall, but they're escorting you to the Queen's throne room. You see like all throughout the palace. You're used to this, but she is watching your walking over to her throne room through the walls. You see her eyes just like every so often moving through the walls. Um could you just grab Kahn'el for me?
No. Uh, Assuming we're not in combat, I think,
Yeah,
is wearing pretty standard dark, almost aged wood in appearance, like dark brown, sandals, silk pants,
hmm,
a vest, kind of. It looks almost like pajamas, but it's for Connell. It's about comfort more than anything.
for sure.
For themselves and for others. They have long black, kind of like wavy hair. It kind of bounces with a sense of almost a glamour bard esque
For
kind
sure.
of addition, right? It's even in moving down the hall, flanked by guards. Connell is always thinking about presentation.
For
Uh,
sure.
Dark brown eyes, fair, really white skin, but in an unsteely way.
For sure.
Uh, he, they, gender fluid, pronouns all, as there's many stories, many ways that Connell presents himself. So, uh, yeah, fairly non-presumptive, 6'4" ish, tall, lanky, not strong. This is not your typical fighter barbarian. They are a
Right.
bard through and through. Um, but yeah, kind features, but weary eyes. Very
Right.
perceptive, insightful, but maybe a little
Um
rambunctious.
flanking you, the two guards casual with you. You've met these folks before. They're less guarding you or they're less worried about you and more just there to as presentation. Essentially, um, you're walking down this hallway. What would you be thinking about in this moment as the queen has summoned you?
I think the queen is a complicated relationship
Mhm.
for Connell. So I think they are just trying to make sure all of the events, all of the goals, missions, objectives that the queen has sent for them are tied up, right? This isn't, am I in trouble? No, I think I'm good, making sure all my stories are straight. Um, so walking with a bit of purpose, a glide. They are rather quick, uh,
Mhm.
but the steps are meant to be silent and graceful versus like stern and powerful. They're making themselves as unassuming as possible.
For sure. You get to two large, also made of obsidian doors. This palace has always felt cold. Do you think you would live in the palace full time, or do you think you would have an estate uh, off off the land as well?
For reasons I'm sure we'll get to later. I think Connell has a room on
Mhm.
the grounds. However, they're not there a lot.
Okay,
Uh, Home is not quite one place for them.
for sure.
So pretty simple though, not super extravagant. The extravagant is meant to be sought and exploited, not
Right.
part of their home base.
For sure. The doors are opened um, through magical means. You're used to this. The queen, much like you, likes to put on a little bit of a performance. You're walking in. You don't see the queen. You're also used to this. Um, Shadow kind of gathers in every corner. You hear her voice. Oh, my darling. How fare you this day?
I think since the moment the doors opened, Kahn'el's eyes have been closed. Uh,
Hmm,
they produce just a little flame from their fingertips, pure white flame that kind of envelops their arms. Uh, on one hand for presentation, but subliminally and subconsciously as a kind of protection
for
or
sure.
light ward towards the queen. Uh, so he will respond honestly, but with a sense of distrust.
Hmm.
As I always am. Cold in the best way,
Hmm.
and warm in the worst. How about you, my lady?
I'm quite well. Thank you for asking. I'm feeling quite a sense of pride for you this evening, my darling. You did such good work with the Queen's daughter.
Well, one. You met one
A
royal,
wolf.
you've met them all. A
A
wolf
wolf
appears.
dances behind you.
That is Macy. Uh,
Ah,
I will say again, you met one noble, you've met them all. But I appreciate the congratulations. It
darling, are
honestly
you
wasn't
saying
that
I'm
difficult.
cut from the rest as well?
We both know you are something completely different.
You flatter me. Darling, I do have an assignment for you.
I assumed
How
as much.
much do you know about the Mortal Plains Raven Queen?
I suppose that is a question for God.
Do you want to go ahead and give me a religion check?
Yeah. Come on, religion. Oh, not one of my better stats, but nat 20 for a 22.
That's pretty good, dude. Um, Beautiful. On a natural 20, the Raven Queen, uh, once a mortal figure, rose to godhood, uh, thousands and thousands of years ago on the Mortal Plains calendar. She is the goddess of death and fate. Not much is known about her. She's one of the more mysterious gods. She has her champions, none of which you're very aware of uh, currently. But on a natural 20, is there anything that you would like to know about her?
Yeah. I would say Connell would, in experiencing Fae and mortal folk, maybe a god or two.
Mhm.
Um, I guess what is my like? There are things that I could learn about the Raven Queen, but would Connell have an understanding of how they stand in their eyes? What their standing is with the Raven Queen?
For sure. I think, you know, she she lives in a place of shadow and darkness herself, much like you currently in this castle, in this palace. you think you're on good terms. You've never met her, which is probably a good sign. Uh,
In that case, I think Kahn'el would be maybe a little uh, over ambitious with this next question of, my lady, are you asking me to seduce the goddess of death?
no, darling, no, no. We're not that ambitious yet. But she does have a very recently appointed champion. A beautiful human girl. Her father's a wizard. Her name is Rosemary Lancelos. You kind of see Dan. Have you opened your eyes yet?
I think when they mentioned the Raven Queen, slowly would have, yes.
You see an illusion dancing to life. A girl in a white dress, uh, very pale skin. Um, I'll let a friend describe them later when you meet them. But a beautiful, noble-looking young woman um, dances to life in an illusion. We don't know why. We're still trying to figure that out. Maybe you can help us with that as well, darling. But your next target, you do such good work, darling. This one should be easy.
This illusion, is this like a
Mhm.
life-size version?
Yeah, yeah.
I think then you would see Connell put their hands behind their back.
Hmm.
And with a sense of curiosity, but also already coming up with strategy, coming up
Hmm.
with compliments or uh, ways to make fun in the most lighthearted manner.
For
But
sure.
just doing a 360 around Rosemary. Doing.
Yeah.
Are they married?
No. I don't believe she's, you know, ever considered that in the cards for herself.
Then is this task meant to end in heartbreak?
Darling, don't they all?
Ghosting? Well, the ending, the punctuation, can be different depending on what it is you would like for me to do.
She carries a power within her, obviously, as the chosen of the Mason of Ravens. Bring her here. We will take what we need, and maybe her poor beloved dies tragically and she never sees them again.
Understand.
We have
Well,
we have our finest fate stitchers uh, working in ways to. It's on a boat currently. Can you believe that? Um, very sheltered girl. Uh, she. This should be one of your easier marks, my love. And you hear like the stink on my love. You have any other
what
questions for me?
level of secrecy to our arrangement should I share with them? Am I running from my dastardly matron?
I
Are you a
believe that could be
secret?
a fun one. An agent just breaking free of his shackles.
Would you like to make it a greater cell?
How so, darling?
Kahn'el would take his fingers, wrap them around his wrist, and you would see kind of like cold markings
Hmm.
of restraints. He's probably done this before, and
Yeah,
they've probably changed aspects of themselves in a way to fit their target more. And Connell would just, like I had mentioned earlier, already start to kind of present themselves in a way that they think, just in first glance of
yeah,
this Rosemary, be seen as, well, an easier target.
for sure. I think that could be wonderful, darling. You do such good work.
It is what I was made for.
It is. Um, Essentially, what is going to happen, my love, is a clumsier member of their crew um, is going to step on a Fey shard that we have snuck aboard their ship. It's going to roll out. A clumsier member of the crew is going to crush the crystal, and you will appear. The timeline for this is going to be about a year their time. Do you have any other questions?
What memory of the court am I allotted for this mission?
Hmm. Could you clarify on a player side what you mean by that?
Yeah, like certain missions, think Winter Soldier.
Right.
Uh, certain missions, Connell comes in with a purely blank slate, uh, a a amnesiac trying
For sure.
to find their way back. Sometimes it's real, meaning they don't have any memories. Sometimes it's a ruse.
Mhm.
Sometimes they know what they're doing all along. So I guess in this instance,
For sure.
I'm curious how much Connell will remember of their mission, but also their time in
You
the
see,
Feywild.
finally operating, two hands and just a head leaning on the floor. Darling, I think we'll let you keep it all. I think she'll really go for this escaped hood ruse that we're putting on here. It's going to be such a shame when you get hurt again.
At this point, I am used to it. And Connell is going to lift the hood and give a overly dramatized
Mm-hmm.
hands to the side bow and kind of put their head right next to the matron,
Mm-hmm.
just enough to feel a little bit of static between you two.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't respond. There's no kiss goodbye or last minute, but the routine is there.
Right. Thank you, darling, for doing this.
Does not
You are
respond.
excused. Doors open again. The guards, Eladrin men, currently in their winter forms, um, lead you out. You wish to do anything before um, you go. I would say you have like 6 hours before you have a feeling inside of you before the mission starts.
I think as they are leaving, and probably in a collection of themselves from that bow, Kahn'el would have raked their hand against the floor
Mm,
and grabbed an obsidian like shard,
for sure.
maybe as a keepsake or as a weapon or something, but just something to like give
I'll let you
them
do that. Yeah.
a tactile way to hide their emotion.
Yeah.
As they turn cloak over their face, there's a unseen grimace to the
Mhm.
performance they just had to put on. And as far as last things, up to this point, I think based off of the many high court espionage type things, Kahn'el had had one of those black kind of crowns
Mm,
that you would see in a Fey royalty. They would take it off, toss it back towards darkness,
mhm. I would say
and
you would be
without saying
allowed
anything.
to return to your room as well. Um,
Yeah, I think before there was a moment of like allowing the guards to lead them to
yeah,
the
the
chamber.
guards are also fluid. They
No,
lead, you lead, they follow essentially.
no. On the way back, though, Connell would have picked up their pace quite a bit, uh,
Mm,
disguised as a sense of I need to get to work and get into
yeah,
character and everything. Um, but the door will close. Would I know whether she can see me in the room?
she sees everything that happens in this palace, and I think you
Hmm.
would know that.
Then the neurotic and overly organized manner which this room is kept is a bit of a facade for
Mm,
that reason. But they are going to go and make sure that every quill and ink spot is accounted for. The
mm.
bed is perfectly made, pillows downed, windows dusted, everything is perfect.
When you
And they
return
will
on your bed, you see wrapped in beautiful red velvet. It's something just resting there on your bed.
interesting. I think a cantrip I picked up. I
Mhm.
will retrieve the object.
Okay.
Uh, essentially telekinetically
Yeah, yeah.
kind of pulling it towards myself in a way
So
that is
wrapped in the velvet is a beautiful obsidian rapier. For this mission to add on to part of your part, you're going to be on a pirate ship.
on pirate ship. I think there's a moment on Connell's face where he's like, rapier. Interesting. Oh.
You see her eyes in the walls.
Would I know whether or not she would be able to trace me
Mm.
on the open sea?
Go ahead and give me, can be insight, arcana, or uh, religion.
Well, my insight is pretty
I
freaking good.
figured. Yeah.
So that's going to be a 30.
Beautiful. Um, it's possible. She's the queen of air. I don't know if Kahn'el knows how boats work, but you know, sails. Um,
Yeah.
but I think you would know that she has some ways of knowing at least where you are at all times.
I think there's going to be a moment where he's going to play up the way that they have to sell their character. Apologies, my lady, for the things I may say in your name. No hard feelings.
Her face emerging out of the wall, much smaller than before. Darling, I know what you do.
I think Kahn'el would take the rapier and, in a moment of bratty defiance, put the blade up to their chin, not in a threatening way,
Mhm.
but in a caress.
Mhm. Up to the queen's chin.
Mhm.
Do you say anything?
Thank you for the gift.
Yes, darling. You feel like a caress up your spine. I have all the faith in you.
Faith. Such a fickle word. It should be fun.
Without saying anything, her face returns to the walls. She is this palace, and she is the wind, and she is the darkness. There was no perceived threat by her with the rapier because no physical form was had.
And I know this.
Yeah.
I think then Kahn'el would secure the rapier and, as to not be graphic, but to show
Mhm.
kind of the level of surveillance, as Kahn'el gets ready for bed or to kind of rest themselves before this day, there's a bit of a performance to your point of she is the castle.
Mhm.
And there's a bit of almost like an ice skater. Every movement is flowed and connected and a show.
Mhm.
Kahn'el doesn't turn off that performance, that act. Not even here.
Yeah. God, that's tragic. I'll say, if you're open to it, you lie down, eventually enter a trance as you prepare for the mission to come. And that's where we're at. We'll end our little session 0.5.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, thank you all so much for watching. This will be uploaded sometime. And we'll see you in the campaign. Goodbye.